Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Real Talk Smart Real Estate. My name is David.
I'm Steve.
And today we're going to be talking about assignments.
Wow, Dave. I love assignments.
Alright, Steve, so let's talk about assignments. Right now it's very popular. A lot of people are asking about assignments, but a lot of people don't even know what it is. So what is an assignment? How does it work? And how do people use it, basically?
So it's a great question, Dave. What are assignments? And it's great for the most part, but you have to be very careful with assignments because sometimes it can come back and bite you.
Okay, so what is an assignment though? Like,
so
what is it, and like basically how does it work?
So an assignment is when I buy a contract, buy a house, right? Now it's most commonly used in new construction. It could be a resale, but the idea is that I buy a contract to purchase a property at a future date. Now I can sell that contract before I purchase that property, before the closing date. An assignment gives me the option to sell that contract to someone else.
So basically what you're saying is that when you buy a new build from a builder, usually you don't close the property right away, right? Because it's not built yet. So
That's right.
So normally it's like 12 months, 18 months, 24 months in the future. That's when you close, but you start putting the down payment right away. However, nobody knows what's going to happen to you in 2 years, for example, right? So sometimes you can assign the contract that you signed with the builder, with the seller, to a third party, to another buyer, right?
Absolutely. Look, people lose their jobs. You bought something to down paper, you thought you have a great job. 6 months from now, a year from now, you can lose it. Nobody knows, right? So an assignment, first of all, it gives you a way to not lose your deposit money and just sell the contract or assign the contract to someone else. Okay, now today, because the market's been the way that it is, people use it as a tool to make money. So you buy something to down paper and you assign it to someone else for a bit more money in, let's say, 6 months or a year.
So is there do you have to pay for it? Is there what kind of fees are involved with it? How does it work with the lawyer?
Usually assignments are at a certain fee. Assignments are very common in the condo market because it takes a lot longer to build condos. Sometimes in 5 years, we've seen projects that taken 5, even more years to build.
From the time of actual sale release.
Yeah,
right?
From the first sale until they actually deliver the product could be 5 years. So condos, I would say 99% of condos allow assignments, if not 100%.
Right.
Now, in residential low-rise, specifically homes, detaches, townhouses, right? Most builders don't allow assignments.
That's for freeholds.
For freeholds, some do, right? And there is no rule of how much it should cost. So it can be $5,000, $10,000, $50,000. It's whatever the builders wants to charge.
Right. Basically, at the discretion of the builder.
Right. Now, the things to know about assignments is that you purchase a property. You are obligated under the contract to close the deal. So, if within the next 2 years, for example, the market dips, right, or something happens and people no longer want the property that you bought, or you just cannot find someone who's going to take over the contract, you have to close that deal, or you forfeit your deposit.
Right. So that's the risk. That's the risk that you're talking about.
Exactly. So the risk is, I see this every day. People go out there, they buy properties, they buy 5, 10 properties, and they just want to assign all these properties, right? And make whatever amounts of money on each property, right? It's a great idea. The problem is the risk exposure, in my opinion, is too high. Because if you're stuck with 10 properties that you can't close.
Right. So you're gonna default on these properties because nobody's gonna give you a mortgage on that.
Of course. Well, unless you have the money. Look, if you have money to put down on these properties and close them, by all means, it's a great way for you to make a buck. But, well, look, if you have money, it all depends on your risk tolerance when you're doing these sort of deals, right? Personally, I'm not against it, but I don't think people should go as crazy as they do for these type of deals.
I like assignments. It's a good way to invest your money in the current market. I think it's a quite safe way of doing it. You buy something, you hold on to it, There's no, you don't have to pay the land transfer tax. You don't have to pay the all the other fees that come with the new build. I think it's okay. You can make a little bit of money. You definitely make more money than if you keep your money in the bank.
I think it's a great tool. I wouldn't do it on condos because condos just don't have enough appreciation. Yes, they appreciate, but just not enough for you to be able to assign and make some money. I just don't think there's enough margin there. With any detached properties, I think it's a great way to make some money, but just don't get crazy.
Right.
Don't buy 10 properties.
So who actually does the assignment? Does your agent do it? Does a lawyer do it? Like, how does it work? Like, okay, let's say I have a property. I bought it last year. I want to assign it this year. How does it work? How do I find somebody, or how does the paperwork work? All that good stuff.
If there are no restrictions from the builder to advertise, right? In a standard scenario, an assignment is just like a sale of an existing property. You find an agent, you pay him commission. There's a cooperating agent, you pay them commission. You can put it on MLS. It's done exactly like a sale of an actual built property.
A lot of builders don't let you advertise though. I find that when there's assignments, a lot of builders say, yeah, you can assign it, but you just can't put it on MLS, or you can't advertise it on MLS. You can advertise it somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Just not on MLS.
Still the same scenario, just don't advertise on MLS. You can still go through agents in the same way that you would for a resale property. Just don't advertise on MLS. That's their one condition.
Okay, cool. And who actually does the whole assignment? I'm assuming the lawyer does the paperwork, right?
So the assignment is always conditional upon builder approval, because builder has to approve the assignment. If the builder does not approve an assignment, it does not happen. It falls apart right there and then. So you have to make sure before you go out there and sell your assignment that the builder is going to allow you to assign at that time, because builders do allow assignments, but not necessarily at any point in time. There are restrictions on when you can do that.
Right. So when you are planning on buying something and your exit strategy, if you will, is to assign it, make sure that you know all the restrictions from the builder, right? Because there's different builders have different restrictions. Sometimes they don't let you assign a contract as long as they have still inventory still, or within a year you're not allowed to assign it, or like 30 days before occupancy you're not allowed to assign it, right?
Absolutely. So if you think you're going to put your money in today and builder's going to raise your prices in a week by $20,000, for example, and you want to make a quick $10K and sell an assignment right there and then, probably you won't be able to do that, because the builder will allow you to assign, but it could be 6 months before closing. It could be 12 months after sale, or they just say to the builder's discretion, whenever.
Right.
So just be careful.
So let's summarize this. Are assignments a good idea? I know a lot of people are using it as an investment tool right now.
Yeah.
Is it good for investment? Is it good for personal use? Like, what are our thoughts? What do we think about assignments?
I think assignments are good, but don't get carried away.
Right.
It is not a great get-rich-quick scheme. I know some people who made crazy money with assignments, but don't get greedy and don't get carried away.
I think that's the lesson for today is don't get greedy and don't get carried away, because a lot of people see how they hear that how easy it is to make that money, but in reality there's a lot of restrictions. There are some fees involved, obviously, and there's just, you don't always know what's going to happen in 6 months to a year, right, with the market. So just be very careful and protect yourself.
Absolutely. Dave, if I may add,
Sure.
a little known fact about assignments.
Yes.
Right? If your builder does not allow an assignment, does that mean that you cannot assign that deal, Dave?
But that is not necessarily true.
That is not necessarily true. If your builder does not allow assignments, it does not necessarily mean that you cannot assign your deal. There's a way to do it. Call us. We'll be happy to walk you through it.
Thanks. Bye.
Hey you, do you like what you see? Like our page, subscribe.